The importance of testimonials and how to get them. Man, I'm so excited about today's show because if you implement what I'm going to tell you today, you're going to get an extra 5, 10 deals a year, hands down. Most of your competition, they suck, and they're not going to take the time to do exactly what I'm going to tell you to do today. It's so small, it's so powerful, it's so potent, and it works. What is the secret? It's getting testimonials from your sellers. Man, I got to tell you, I don't care how much you toot your own horn on a podcast or a YouTube channel or your website. Man, a great testimonial from a seller will build just so much trust and a connection that they don't want to call anybody else. Okay, give me 2 websites, one with a bunch of testimonials and one without. And I could tell you what, one of the first pages that a seller is going to go to is the one with testimonials. They want to hear what other customers have said about you. This is really, 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 really important. And I'm going to give you a little trick here, actually, on how to get testimonials, even if you've never done a deal. Okay, so I'm going to blow your socks off their way. I'm going to show you, again, really, really easy ways to get them. Now, most people do not do this because it's a little tougher to get seller testimonials. It's not that easy, right? People aren't like willing to just jump on camera and give them to you, right? They'll say nice things to you, right? And they will be very friendly with you, right? If you're at the title company, they'll say it to you. You know, maybe they'll send you an email, but they're not just, they don't know how to do it. There's not a process. And so you have to direct sellers on how to do this. Once you get these things, okay, you want to put them everywhere. You want them on the website. You want them on your email signature. You want to have a credibility packet that you send to sellers. You want them attached to every single offer that you put together. And by the way, you can have them in video. You could transcribe them to written form. You could have them in audio. You could turn audio into video. I mean, it's just amazing, right? So if you want a spot to learn how to repurpose your testimonials to turn them from, let's say, from a video to writing and audio, or audio to video and writing, you can check out Upwork.com and find writers and video editors and all that other stuff to help you there. All right, so I'm going to start off with the best way to get these. Okay, now the best way to get a seller testimonial, right, is obviously at the closing table. If you could line up a closing with the seller at the closing table and yourself, and this is when you're first getting started, by the way, because getting credibility and building your brand and building a reputation is very, very, very important. For me, I haven't been to the title company in years, with the exception of just building the relationship, right? If I was just bringing lunch or meeting the CEO or just making a connection, but for a closing, I haven't been there in years. So as you're building your business, I don't recommend that. But when you first get started, you've got to scratch and claw and get testimonials. You just got to do it. So my recommendation for you is, when you do those first couple of deals, is get to the title company, get belly to belly with the seller, and be ready. Okay, now, most important thing, 90% of video is audio. Okay, so what I would do is I would have an iPhone, which is just fine. Okay. And the other part about that, by the way, here's a little trick, is that you want to have, what do they call that? Geotagging on your cell phone, where it tags where you are. This is if you're doing business locally. So let's just say you're doing business in Dallas, Texas, and you do a video. Apple tags that video and says, hey, this person was in Dallas, Texas. So if you post that on your website, it's going to know locally who you are. So just that's a little search engine optimization trick. When people start Googling, it's going to make your website, if you put that on your website, a little sooner. Just a little hack there. Okay. Now, I also would go and get a microphone from Amazon, right? They're $20 and it plugs in the bottom of your cell phone. Make sure it's got a little clip on the lapel so that they can hear. Now, again, if you're first getting started and you recorded one without a microphone, that's just fine, but just connect a little microphone here and be ready to go. Now, ask the seller, say, hey, do you mind if I just take a quick video of you sharing your experience with us? That's it, right? You don't have to say, can I have a testimonial? Say, can you share your experience with us? It would really help us out a ton, right? Ask a favor. And I'm telling you what, they are at the peak of excitement and they are most likely going to give you the testimonials. We've had a couple who say, no, I'm not comfortable on camera, and I'm going to show you ways to get around that. Very, very, very important. But now you want to prep the seller. So you want to say, listen, I'm going to ask you, can you tell us why you called us? That's the first thing, right? Number two, how the experience went. And then number three, how you felt afterwards. I'm going to repeat that. So number one, why you called us. Number two, how the experience went. And number three, how you felt afterwards. One more time. Number one, why you called us. Number two, how the process went. And then three, how you felt afterwards. And man, that way you coach them and say, oh, I called Mr. Matt Smith Home Buyers because I had a no good tenant. Man, once I signed the contract, Matt came over and it was just so easy. He just explained everything and he just, connected us with a title company and they were so great. And before I knew it, I had my money. And man, I just feel so good right now. I'm so relieved. I'm so glad this time of my life is behind me. And that's it, right? That's 30, 45, 60 seconds. And then you want to reassure the seller. You want to reassure the seller that it's pretty much one take, right? That they could fumble, they could mumble, they could mess up, they could get your name wrong. Doesn't matter, just one take. You want bloopers and all. And that way you could really, really take the edge off. Very, very, very important. I'm also going to give you a little hack here that will really, really help. So that's what I would do, okay? And then hopefully you can be in the picture or the video. You don't have to be, right? And someone from your title company could be helping you. So now you got the video. That's the easiest way to do it. If you cannot be there, okay, you can also ask the title company to do that. Now, what I would do is I would send a document explaining that process to them, asking them to do that. And again, your title company will do this, right? And if they won't, find a new one. Find a new one. That's really, really important. You want someone who's going to bend over backwards to keep your business. So if you can't be there, ask the title company to do it. Now, let's assume that you're like, oh, I wish I would have done this, right? I can't. The other thing that I would do is if you want to go retroactive, right? You want to go back and you want to get some other testimonials. What I would do is I would maybe hire someone on Craigslist or use my cell phone or get someone to do an odd job, maybe from TaskRabbit, and go all your old deals and have them meet with your sellers at their house and tell the story at their property, right? And the story, and train the person who's doing the video exactly how I taught you to do it, right? And they can go 7 and 8 in one day and you could be done, right? 7 or 8 testimonials in one day and be done. That's if you want to actually go back to your old sellers. Very, very, very important. Okay, now let's assume for a second I told you that if you have never done a deal, how you can do this. You can also get character testimonials starting out, right? So you can have, let's just say you played football and you could get your football coach to talk about his experience with you and your contributions to the team and how you are a person of integrity, right? You can get your last employer to go to talk about you. If you bought a house, you can talk about how you bought your house through a realtor, right? And how the closing went really, really easy. If you've done a joint venture partnership, talk about how the joint venture went. If you've used any kind of vendor or construction, have them talk about how you paid on time. Is the testimonial from a home seller better? Yeah. But a testimonial from 5 people in different areas of life are about 60 to 70% as good. Okay. I pulled that number out of my rear end, but it's still very, very good. That's how I got my first testimonials. And guess what? They worked. Okay. They worked. So now that you have that, I've got a couple of hacks here for you. Let's assume that you do the deal virtual, right? Trying to do it on Zoom and stuff like that and Google Meet. I've done that. It's okay. It's a little awkward. Here's what I would try is just have a 24-hour recorded voicemail and set it up and have them call your voicemail and say, hey, can you just call this voicemail and let us know about your experience? And again, one take. I don't care if you fumble or mumble or any of that. Just be real. Tell us why you called us. Tell us how the process was. And tell us how you felt after it was done. and then have them do it. And I've gotten dozens of testimonials just on a 24-hour recorded voicemail. You could try and transcribe that to now make that a text. You also could turn that into a video, what we call an audiogram. You've actually seen a lot of my podcast turn into videos, right, on YouTube, where you don't see my face. Now we do video, but we used to just do audio, and it had audiograms where it just had, words popping up on the top of the screen. So you can do that, and that's almost as good, but don't let it stop you. Very, very important. I'm going to give you one more tool, and you can check this out. This is another way to get video, and you can try it. It's called So Tell Us, SOTELLUS, SoTellUs.com. And it's a really good way to also get videos from people who you are not with, right? You send them a link, they click on the link, they record, and it automatically gets shot to you, right? They don't have to email it to you. They don't have to worry about file sizes. And so just ask. But speed is really, really important here, okay? You want to ask them as soon as you can after the deal closed. If you can't and you closed a year ago, that's okay, right? That's okay. But again, speed matters here. That's very, very, very important, okay? Actually, it's funny. I've actually got now you may be wondering, okay, what about my big deals, right? What about my big deals? Are sellers going to give me a testimonial, and you may have some, insecurities, and you're like, wow, I just made 50 grand or 100 grand. Is the seller going to freak out, right? Is the seller going to freak out, because they know how much money I made? Get rid of that insecurity. That's total BS, self-limiting belief crap. So ironically, I have a voice recording, right? This one we weren't able to do in person because the seller was like out of Dodge, right? Wanted to be out of town really quick. And I had to get this deal done, a few days afterwards. I think he was in his car doing the testimonial. So I actually have the voice recording. This wasn't a video. And this was on our biggest deal up to date, right? I think we had made over $175,000 on this deal this wasn't our biggest deal ever, right? But at the time, it was our biggest deal to date. This one was 175 grand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this tape for you, and just know that this was the biggest deal that we have ever done, okay? And the seller was this happy. The seller was just this happy, all right? So let's go ahead and roll the tape.
Hi, Sam Herb. I used Get It Done home buying service, and to be honest, I really enjoyed the fast, speedy process. I had called probably 3-4 other companies and put out my info, and Brian was, first one back to me. Everybody else told me, oh yeah, let me crunch the numbers and I'll get back to you, and tomorrow or whatnot, and he got back to me within 20 minutes with the numbers, and we started the process right then, and, he sent out, the escrow, someone to start escrow and get it notarized, and then get the ball rolling, within a couple hours and everything. And, Kendra emailed me the next day, and it was just, the ball was rolling and closed before, the day that escrow should have closed. And I didn't have to do nothing. Literally everything came to me. Didn't have to do anything. So, yeah, that was it. All right. Thank you.
So a couple things that I want you to realize about this, right, is that you'll see this is not perfect, right? The audio is not perfect, but we got it done, right? And I can tell you that when a seller listens to that, it sounds very authentic. You can see the seller is happy. He's excited. Couldn't be more happy with the transaction. And, you could take a bunch of those and string them together. And man, I'm telling you, it's going to absolutely change your business, right? We could have been completely insecure that we had made so much money, and the seller was going to be like, wait, you made what? Right? But he was happy to give that testimonial. And that's the great part about this business, right? The bigger the problem you solve, the more money that you're going to make. And so I want you to shout loud and proud and get your sellers to do the same thing for you. You're going to feel great about yourself, and your business is going to explode. Okay, go out and get those testimonials. Just to review, social proof is the most powerful form of marketing. You could tell them anything. You could give them a great offer, but once they understand that other people have done business with you, they've seen other people like them do business with you, it's going to shoot your credibility through the roof. And this is why you must do this. Very, very important. The best way to do this when you first get started is being at the title company, get a little microphone off Amazon. And remember, remind them, okay, why'd you call us? Tell us about the process. How did you feel afterwards? Okay, you can have your title people also do the recording if you can't be there. You could also have them call into a 24-hour recorded message just on your voicemail, right? You could do a Google Voice or a Ring Central number or whatever else you use. Make sure that you can export those MP3s. Again, if people are uncomfortable, very, very important, then have them just say something and then you can just transcribe it. Okay, basically just ask them, and then you could record that and say, okay, let me turn this into a paragraph, or you could give them some kind of, and I didn't say this in the original podcast, but you can give them a paragraph and say, is it okay if I say this? A picture is worth 1,000 words, so you can also take a picture with your people and put some testimonial lines underneath that. Don't be scared to get testimonials from outside of the real estate industry, right? Sports, former employers, realtors, contractors, notaries, right? You pay on time. You're a man or a woman of your word. You get things done, right? You're a businessman who just pushes it through, right? Get that done. Very, very important. By the way, if you ever need a seller who says, hey, what houses have you bought? You actually can also partner with someone who's done deals, right? And say, hey, can we do our first deals together, and I can use some of your testimonials, right? That's if you needed it. Lastly is don't be scared to ask, okay? Don't be scared to ask. I'm telling you, these things make a big, big, big difference. And once you get them, put them everywhere, right? Your website, your voice, splice them into your voicemail, put them in the signature of your email, right? Get them transcribed and leave it behind. Very, very important. If someone has a relative, kind of getting in your transaction, send them the testimonials and the game will change. If you use this, you're going to make an extra 5 to 10. You're going to gain an extra 5 to 10 contracts every single year. And if you're doing business the right way and you're doing 30, 40, 50, 100K deals, just do the math. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope you're going to go out and get the testimonials. If you have not been to our site, I've got a special gift for you. Go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script to download the exact script that we use when we're talking to motivated sellers. So go ahead and check that out. nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And I will talk to you on the next episode.